Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode Behind the Wealth. We have a guest today, one of our accountants, Ilias Dimopoulos. He's a senior accountant with Silver and Young Chartered Accountants, and we had a discussion regarding my podcast and what we do and how we can add value to different group of people. So Ilias was kind enough to bring some critical questions for me that I can try to ask. Everything we say here today is not a personal advice, it is a general advice. And if you have a question, please contact your accountant or your financial planner or give us a call. Hello, Ilias, and welcome to Behind the Wealth.
Hello, Dimitri. Thanks for having me.
So we had a discussion regarding the different stages of life and the financial planning that it could be attached in a different stage of life.
Financial advice is not a black and white scenario. It's complicated and it depends on circumstances. So, of course, if you have kids, your life is different than if you don't have kids, no matter what your age is. And basically, that helps me transition to the 30s, which is probably the age that most people will have kids. No matter what the age, you probably, once you reach your 30s, you probably, even if you don't have kids yet, you might be considering of starting a family. So there's a more likely scenario that you will have a family on that age, and most likely you do have a spouse, so the dynamics change. So let's say I'm reaching my 30s. I probably have a few years of career behind me, so my income is a bit higher, but also my expenses are much higher as well, because there's other people depending on me. So how do I work in terms of creating wealth at that age? What is the strategy there?
Of course, everything has the flowing effect. The flowing effect has when you are 15, 16 and you start your first job. Then it goes the flowing effect when you are in mid-20s and go to uni or to trade to get a qualification for you to work. Then it is the good habits that you acquired from childhood till that day, late 20s, early 30s. But say now we just landed to late 20s, early 30s, and we have reasonable good habits. What is the first thing you have to aim for? I believe on a personal, and it's not 100%, everyone could probably agree, but I think we need to aim to buy our home first. And the reason I say why we need to buy our home first, for two reasons. Number one, give us a security of a home that this is us. There is an aim to pay my mortgage. You know, I work the extra shift or the extra job to pay my mortgage faster and quicker because maybe the interest rate goes up. Maybe this, so it is more channeled to savings, number one.
So basically, we have a defined and easy, recognizable goal.
Absolutely.
That as a couple, we can work together.
Correct. And there is an aim for both the couple to make it get debt-free or at least reduce the debt, which is usually high in the early days. Most of them, 80% of the loan of the house, of the value of the house or the unit. So this is a big goal. The second thing is, you need, again, to review your risk between that you have as a couple, if you're married, or as a single. So if you're not married, of course, you still need to aim to buy your own home, to save as much possible. And maybe if you are in a position and you were a good saver, already buy your first investment on your own, or buy a first investment with your best friend, with your brother, with your sister, with, of course, a caveat here. When you go to a transaction like this to buy a property with your best friend or your brother, your sister, or someone very close to you, you need to determine the exit strategy. You need to have it in writing from a solicitor, how we exit this transaction. It will cost you.
So basically, we need to have a plan before we enter into this transaction of how we're gonna finish with this transaction.
Me and you now, we are best friends from school days. You have $20,000, $30,000. I have $20,000, $30,000. We can put, say, 10% on or 20% on a $400,000 property somewhere in Queensland for investments, because I'm not going to marry and you're not married. So we go, before we decide that, and we say, okay, Ilias, happy, we go for the investment property, good cash flow, good quality property, good area, there is a potential. The next step, go and visit a financial planner or an accountant or the solicitor to recommend you to do an exit strategy, because now we are the best friends. There is no anything wrong. There is no issues. And the exit is going to be very easy. If you want to buy, if I want to sell, you have the first choice. If you want me to buy, so and vice versa. And if this is happening, so the solicitor will give you the breakup and we help you to determine what is the exit. And that's now a piece of paper that we agreed on a good time, like today, that we buy the property before anything happens. And we'll address 9 out of 10 possibilities. It's always something we cannot be addressed, but it is a very important document. And I like this, and I emphasize to this point is because why? It protects you and me from our greediness that we have inside us 10 years later when the market goes up and my wife doesn't like your wife and your wife doesn't like my wife, and why we have this and why we pay and why we have repairs, and we pulled away, we are not in a one direction. Then it's easy.
And let me add here, my wife, let me add that the scenario that my wife doesn't like me, so she divorces me, which is an additional risk to that relationship.
Absolutely. And this needs to be written in the paper, what happens. Absolutely. This is also very important. 50% of the marriages dissolved, really. They go away. So
yeah, that's true.
So this is one thing if you buy with a friend. The other one, of course, if you buy with your spouse or your other significant half. And then if you have a child at this stage, usually at early 30s, people start a family or they have already very young family. That's then absolutely important to review your risk and your insurances. And the first stage is review how much insurance you have in super, because it's already there by the system. Check that, and then check how much risk you have. Say you rely too much on your wife, or she relies too much on you, or it is equal reliance between the two of you. Then all these have different scenarios. You have a very young child, or maybe you have a child which is already 10 years old. You have family to support, or you don't have family support, and you are alone in this part of the world. And of course, then the financial planner will go through this, the IP, the income protection, the life, the TPD, and the trauma. I won't go into detail, but this is also the scenario. And what else we need to do as well? Review and do the superannuation review. Because don't think that this superannuation, because you're going to get it in 30, 35 years later, it is insignificant. You know, I know by experience, 35 years come very quick, and you are on the front. They come a lot quicker than you think. You know, sometimes I have to remember when people tell me, how old are you? And I have to remember that I can't say this, I'm that old. So because I feel 20 years younger, but I am what I am. So 35 years come very quick. So if you have an asset which underperforms for 35 years, it's a lot of underperformance. So you need to review it. And this is very easy stuff. The financial planner, it's easy to access it, will guide you, and will tell you some options. And usually it's not expensive. It's just a bit time consuming, of course, to go through the process, but it pays multiple returns if you do the right thing.
Look, I think you're right, because the way I understand it is that the creation of wealth is a combination of two things. One is inputs, which is basically the money that you save or you put aside or you invest. And the other one is the effect of time and the compounded interest, basically. And at those young and early ages, basically, you have the benefit of having a lot of time ahead of you in order to make this investment work for you effectively, and allowing time to also impact the investment apart from your inputs. So, and I find it many times when I do tax returns with clients that they don't really, in the younger ages, they don't consider super much because they think it's very far down the road. But as you're saying, a small percentage of 1 or 2 percent return in investment can make hundreds of thousands of dollars difference at the end of the whole plan, basically, at retirement.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Personal development. Personal development, it's all the way in every stage of your life. Personal development and self-development is very important, because what is the goose that it makes the golden egg? You. And how you need to increase your capacity to earn by being a better person, by being more efficient, by being more knowledgeable. So we cannot access and we say, okay, wealth creation is dollars, buy property, buy shares, do this, do that. This is not enough. It's a lot more than that. The personal development of your career and your earning capacity, and of course, your other half's earning capacity, it definitely increases your capacity. I've seen a lot of time a couple that they don't promote and they don't push the other half to do and to be the best they can be. This is a gross financial negative impact on the finance. Of course, every couple is different and every couple has its own values, and I'm not here to say anyone what to do. I just make the point. Work at the best of your ability to develop yourself as a person and as a career, your career, but also your wife's. And it has two effects. One thing is the financial benefit, and the second effect, and more important, has the influence on your children, how they're brought up. I hope all of you enjoyed Behind the Wealth, the latest episode about different stages. We come back again with Ilias for the next stage. And thank you for listening to us. Till next time, have a good day.